Hey there, it's another beautiful day. Let's watch some stuff.
Hello, it's me, Christina, reporting from the End Times, your #1 trusted societal collapse news network. Today is Monday, October 14th, 2024, and the California Department of Public Health has issued a notice of 5 new H5N1 cases among dairy farm workers. In their press release, they say, new possible positive human bird flu cases have been identified in the Central Valley since last Friday. To date, the state has identified 6 confirmed and 5 possible human cases. The individuals had direct contact with infected dairy cattle at 9 different farms. 5 possible cases are pending confirmatory testing by the CDC. So far, evidence continues to suggest that only animal-to-human transmission is occurring. As a reminder, one of the earliest indicators of an H5N1 bird flu outbreak on a dairy cattle farm is the sudden appearance of local felines becoming suddenly and violently ill and dying after ingesting raw milk. So please, don't do that.
So if those 5 cases are confirmed, that brings California up to 11. We are in the lead since the nationwide total is, I think, 24. Go California, I guess.
So the people are saying all of this Diddy commotion isn't what we should be focused on. Like, it's just a distraction. Right when Diddy got arrested, something massive went down with 23andMe, the DNA company. They have DNA samples from everyone who's curious about their ancestry, right? Now, check this out. Right as this Diddy thing blows up, every single board member of 23andMe resigns simultaneously. And you got to wonder why. Fun fact, the CEO of 23andMe is married to the CEO of YouTube and Google. And the theory goes that these board members bailed because there are some unethical moves being planned at the company. They have all our data, man, even DNA data. On top of that, they have the Google search engine. They have every single piece of information about you, including your biochemistry. Now they're so smart. What's the future of commerce where they can sell you things that you have to pay for? What's one thing you'd spend all your money on? Because if you don't, it's over. Health, right? Now they know our DNA. They can pinpoint diseases, offer cures. And what's one of the big sells? Anti-aging. That's a huge red flag. It's crazy.
Not too long ago, we talked about how Google is constantly spying on us, right? Getting into our ins and outs of our daily lives. And now Google's founder and his wife, the owner of 23andMe, are trying to go private. Yeah, sounds like a lot of nefarious crap going on. Talk about a true power couple.
You guys lost in 2022 for the same reason.
You believe everything you're told from the mainstream media. You're right. There's no government corruption. They don't rig elections. It's never happened. The government is great, guys. The government loves you so much, and the mainstream media would never lie to you. They would never do that. Come on.
Let's say that I did believe everything from the mainstream media. The mainstream media is a conglomeration of how many different large corporations with how many different editors, with how many different people involved that have how many levels of accountability, as opposed to the alternative media, a company that you just came from that's now bankrupt.
Yeah, there's about 6. And remember Operation Mockingbird, when that script was put down and all of the media outlets read the exact same script? It's because they're not controlled by individual companies, individual corporations. They're controlled by a very few people. And the news companies are at the will of those 6 people. And they would have us at their will as well.
It's interesting how in the federal, you have people are crying about just saying on the budget that you have to be a U.S. citizen to vote in any of these elections coming up in November. Why would that be something that would be controversial? Well, the reason why is because you've had some of these cities around the country, we haven't allowed it in Florida, they have registered non-citizens to vote in the elections. And I'm just thinking to myself, if you as an American showed up to France and said you wanted to vote, I don't think they would let you. If you showed up to Japan and said you just wanted to vote, I don't think that they would let you. I think they would say, no, it's for Japanese citizens or for French citizens. And so why would we be doing this as a country where some of these municipalities are doing it? And what they'll say is, well, it's only for local elections, that they control. It's not for the federal. But how are you going to police that? Once you've said they can vote, they're going to go in, they can get a ballot and then do. So I think that the Democrats are making a big mistake by fighting on citizen voting. To me, that's a no-brainer.
I think that if you want to vote and you are not a citizen, you go through the proper channels to become a citizen, and then you vote legally. And I think that should be how it is. And I don't see anything wrong with believing that.
Just out of curiosity, are you registered to vote?
Yes, we've already registered.
Are you a citizen?
No.
Are you a citizen? No, I'm waiting for my residency right now. And do you plan to vote this year? Yes. Who do you prefer right now? Kamala or Trump? Or Trump? No, Kamala. Have you been registered? Yes. Are you a citizen or not? And would you vote for Kamala? Well, yeah.
Arizona has recently become the center of election integrity concerns. It was the most closely contested state during the 2020 presidential election, decided by a margin of less than 11,000 votes. The razor-thin margin of victory in 2020 led to intense scrutiny of election integrity measures in the state. The primary concern is that non-citizens could be registering to vote and participating in American elections. However, the mainstream media continues to minimize the issue. The Washington Post said that the issue of non-citizens voting was dishonest. Rolling Stone claimed that the issue was non-existent, and NPR assured its audience that the issue is a myth.
And then your brain starts thinking about how many illegal immigrants have just been flooding in the last few years. And who do you think they're going to vote for? Obviously, the people that let them in and gave them money and gave them homes and everything else they could possibly want for free. Yeah.
So check it out. TikTok gave me community guidelines for misinformation. I posted their guidelines, talk about some telling people how to vote or what to vote or misinformation. But what TikTok is lying about and failing to tell you the truth is they're the ones who are doing that. I ain't lied to nobody. I use my own personal mail-in ballot that they sent to me. I use my own personal mail-in ballot that the U.S. government sent to me. My information on there. I showed y'all the questions on there. I showed y'all my answers, my vote. They said misinformation and telling people how to vote. They tell you you can only vote for one or vote for two, and it's only one person on there or two people on there. But I'm misinformation. I'm telling people how to vote. I'm telling people how to vote. Jill Stein wasn't even on the mail-in ballot in Nevada. TikTok is an agent.
Oh yeah, TikTok is definitely biased. They've picked their side and they want to make sure that only their information gets out. I had something pulled recently for election integrity or something like that, and it had nothing to do with the election.
Breaking news, as Vice President Kamala Harris has a brutal 2 weeks with her support dwindling out of desperation, you won't believe what she just said on stage.
He's talking about the enemy within our country, Pennsylvania. He's talking about that he considers anyone who doesn't support him or who will not bend to his will an enemy of our country. It's a serious issue. He is saying that he would use the military to go after them. Think about it.
Join me on Discord to talk about it.
Just another smear campaign, but the illegal immigrants definitely are an enemy at this point, especially the way the red carpet has been laid out for them and they've been given everything by the current administration. So yeah, that's a problem because now they expect that. Something has to be done. Either they have to be going through the legal process or they have to be going the frick out.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think Joe Biden's a good person. I know, it's crazy, but hear me out. See, we haven't had the October surprise this year. And I think that October surprise is going to come in the last week of October. My prediction is that in the last week of October, Joe Biden is going to endorse Donald Trump for president. I know you think that I'm crazy, but let's look at the facts. When asked if Governor DeSantis should answer Kamala Harris when she calls him, he simply defended the Republican governor of Florida, DeSantis. He said he's talked to DeSantis, and DeSantis is doing a phenomenal job. When they asked him about the rhetoric from Donald Trump, he didn't answer. He pivoted to international affairs. Sometimes you have to read between the lines to understand somebody's true motives. And I think Joe Biden has seen what the Democrats are willing to do to retain power for the swamp. And I personally think that on October 29th or 30th, Joe Biden is going to endorse Trump to not give Kamala any time for damage control. And also so he can't just disappear and she's made president of the United States early. That is what I believe the October surprise is going to be this year.
I know we're covering a lot of politics today, but it's what's going on right now. There's a lot happening, and that would be one heck of a doozy, wouldn't it? I don't think it's going to happen. I think we're going to declare war.
Every human was born with a pineal gland, and that pineal gland is a sensor organ that sits in the middle of your brain. It serves as a receiver and a sender between you, the human being, and the universe. You see, that's where you get your freedom from. Your mind is connected to the universe, which is infinite. It's infinity. You can do anything with your mind. Everything that you see in its physical form came from the invisible spiritual realm first. This auditorium, this building, wasn't here at one time. It was just in someone's mind. So your mind is very, very strong. And how are you connected with that? Your pineal gland.
And here, all this time, all I thought that little thing did was produce melatonin.
In 2002, scientists made the exciting discovery that calcite microcrystals exist on the pineal gland, and that these crystals can interact with electromagnetic fields.
These crystals have piezoelectric properties with excitability in the frequency range of mobile telecommunications. They theorize that the interactions of these crystals with global system for mobile telecommunication waves could constitute a new mechanism of transduction of the pineal membrane. What this means in layman's terms is that our pineal gland is a cell phone. The wireless transmitter that links us with universal consciousness is our pineal gland.
So a lot of you know that I'm pretty new at this conspiracy theory stuff, and once in a while a couple things connect. And I think right there I just connected the whole 5G tower stuff with our pineal gland. Now I'm sure it's already been done before, but this is the first time for me, so I'm a little proud of myself, unless of course I'm wrong, in which case I'm still proud because that's a sweet connection. So all of this 5G stuff, all the frequencies and whatnot, is disrupting our pineal gland, which separates us from the earth. Is that right? Sounds right.
The Pact for the Future, embraced by world leaders in 2024, is shrouded in the promise of global cooperation. But lurking within its framework is something far darker. This pact, designed to address the pressing concerns of climate catastrophe, economic collapse, and political unrest, also introduces an unsettling possibility: a world increasingly governed by an elite, centralized authority. The most chilling aspect of this pact is its potential to tighten global control. It reimagines multilateralism in ways that seem to push beyond mere cooperation between nations, toward a future where individual freedoms are at risk. Picture a world where climate policies are no longer national decisions, but directives handed down by international overseers. Imagine financial systems so entangled in global agreements that nations may lose the ability to control their own economies. Critics fear this is a first step toward global governance, where a few hold the power to dictate policies that could reshape societies. Stripped of sovereignty, nations might find themselves at the mercy of global entities, wielding the pact as a tool for dominance. Could this be the beginning of an era where technology, surveillance, and AI-controlled systems enforce compliance in the name of protecting the future? With dissenting nations warning of its overreach and powerful countries silently accepting its terms, one can't help but wonder, is the pact for the future a path to saving humanity, or a calculated move toward unprecedented global control? The true cost of the future is yet to be seen, and it may be far steeper than we ever imagined.
That clip that we saw earlier about how Diddy's arrest overshadowed the whole 23andMe thing, I think it overshadowed this because that was like 6 or 7 days before the summit. And not too long ago, I even told you how I was late to the party and the United States was like, yeah, that's what we're going to do. Okay. Do we get a choice? I'm guessing not.
So, Tic Tac, I got a crazy conspiracy theory for you. Because I just got done watching the stuff on the magnetic field around the Earth, and it is weakening. That is why we are seeing the aurora borealis all over the world very far south. What's happening is the magnetic poles are shifting, and by 2040, they're calling for a mass extinction event. so cataclysmic, pretty much it could wipe us all off the face of the earth, and it's going to happen. There's no stopping it. So my theory is, being it's the magnetic field, and the scientists know this is going to happen, maybe them over at CERN are really trying to stop this. And all that stuff in North Carolina is a big lithium grab because they need it to stop this magnetic field and poles from shifting. Think about that. Like and share.
That is a fantastic theory. I absolutely love that. You know how much I'm obsessed with the whole polar shift thing and then the world reset and us all, kicking the bucket. I like that. Maybe CERN is trying to do something to stop it. I don't know what, but it's good. I'm hoping somebody builds on that.
As we approach the 2024 election, a troubling question looms over the future of American democracy. Could this be the last free election we ever see? One of the key concerns centers on the sharp rise in illegal immigration during Democratic administrations. In 2020 alone, border apprehensions surged to nearly 1 million. Many of these immigrants were resettled in swing states like Arizona, Georgia, and Pennsylvania, states that will likely decide the 2024 election. Meanwhile, the Democratic Party continues to push for relaxed voter identification laws. Their goal? Make voting more accessible. But critics argue that this opens the door to potential voter fraud. In a system with no ID requirements, the possibility of non-citizens voting becomes a serious concern, especially in key battleground states. Even Elon Musk, a tech visionary, has expressed concern about the dangers of centralized power. In a tweet he warned, "A one-party state is the death of democracy." Musk's words resonate with those who fear that the combination of mass immigration, voter law changes, and potential new voting blocs could lead to one-party dominance. If Trump loses, the consequences could be severe for the future of American elections. Millions of undocumented immigrants could be given a path to citizenship, creating a loyal voting bloc for the Democratic Party. This would lead to the end of competitive elections, where only one party maintains power indefinitely. With a Democratic supermajority, they could reshape the Supreme Court, remove the filibuster, and push through laws that silence opposition, forever altering the balance of power in the U.S. The 2024 election may be the most pivotal in modern U.S. history. Without the right safeguards in place, the hope for free and fair elections could vanish. This isn't fear-mongering, it's a call to stay informed, vigilant, and aware of the changes that could shape the future of America.
I know that was a little redundant to a clip that we already watched today, but it is a really big deal and it's weighing really heavy on me, so I'm kind of verbalizing my concerns through other people's voices. And it's a concern. It's a serious concern, but I didn't know that they were all taken to those swing states. How interesting is that?
Presidential election, do you feel like that has any sort of influence as to how accelerated or decelerated this path of open contact will be?
Yes, I do. I actually think, along with a couple of other psychic mediums who've talked about this, that we have accelerated about 8 years forward all of a sudden. And that it is more conducive to open contact now, and that will actually happen. And we will start being introduced to extraterrestrials, and disclosure will really start unfolding about the existence of extraterrestrials and UFOs, I think within the next 5 years. And I think that seems very quick to most people, but what I think a lot of people don't understand is a lot of this has been being set up and being prepared behind the scenes for quite a while. So the idea that in the next 5 years we might actually be openly introduced by different factions of government to the idea that extraterrestrials exist is something that has been going on for quite some time in the setup phase, and therefore over the next 5 years is not necessarily such a surprise that we have finally reached the point where this becomes inevitable and actually becomes something that can happen in the relatively near future.
I'm excited. Are you excited? Because I am totally excited. I don't know what that has to do with the presidential election, but I am super excited about it.
You know, we saw something extraordinary during COVID, which was almost like a psyop, an orchestrated fear that was deployed to disable the public capacity for critical thinking and to make us compliant with government mandates and government proclamations. And the people who questioned those proclamations became enemies of the state. They became heretics. They couldn't be debated. It was religious in nature, the kind of orchestrated control and the move from a democratic model, a bottom-up model, to centralized control. I think the Democratic Party today, a party that I no longer recognize, is the fulcrum of that transformation.
So during COVID is when I really noticed the polarization of the two parties. Like there was spread out, and then it just became real fine-tuned about this party and that party. And that's when I switched back from one party to the party I currently represent. I feel like it's because during COVID, when some people were like, oh no, and the other people were like, oh yes, you know, that's when that happened. And there was a lot of conflict that even more furthered that polarization. And it started with mask mandates.
Mask mandates are coming back to several Bay Area counties. Health officials have issued orders requiring face masks to be worn in hospitals, skilled nursing facilities, and other healthcare facilities. This order goes into effect starting November 1 until either the end of March or April 2025. Now, the counties requiring masks right now are Alameda, Contra Costa, Santa Clara, San Mateo, and Napa County.
It's starting again. They say that it's in hospital settings and because of the cold and flu season and preventing COVID-19 and yada, yada, yada. But didn't we just hit number 11 on our bird flu tally? Feels like they know something.
Tim Walz is absolutely finished. The Harris campaign is done. It's literally done. There's allegations that have come out about Tim Walz that people have talked about the last few days, but now we have a full-blown whistleblower that's coming out who's an exchange student that Tim Walz has threatened that he will deport him out of the country if he speaks out about him prior to the election. What's your thoughts on this? Watch.
Tell me about your first encounter with Coach Tim Walz.
He would tell me like your secrets, you can trust me, and I will tell you my secrets, we can trust each other again. And he would go with those like strange movements up to leg, back to my back again, touching my butt. He made it very clear that nobody is going to believe me and I will be deported because of the wrong accusing of a teacher. I had a feeling for a long period of time that I cannot trust anyone because something bad can happen with them. I want them to know that they should talk about it and do something and never keep it inside.
And this is not the best. There's more to come. Wait for the news to drop tomorrow. Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. Is the Harris campaign completely disseminating in front of our eyes? Is their campaign completely imploding in real time? I think so. Let me know your thoughts below.
I'm not forming an opinion on this particular piece of information. I just thought that it was interesting and I want to follow it and see what comes of it. I've seen posts to the contrary, that it's just a smear campaign, which wouldn't surprise me because both sides are constantly smearing each other and one person comes out with this wonderful doozy of information that just runs and runs. I want to wait for the dust to settle and the smoke to clear and we'll see what's going on.
Abraham Lincoln said 4 and. So what's a game with a score that's pretty low? Soccer, what do they call soccer in other countries? Football, what is football here? Violent, what else is violent? Religious war. Who used to cause religious wars? The Pope. What's the second letter of the Pope's name? O, P-O. Okay, O looks like 0. Abraham Lincoln is 0 years old because he's dead.
Yeah, I must admit, sometimes it does feel a little bit like that. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end. I really appreciate you sharing your time with me. Please come on back tomorrow. We're going to watch some new stuff. I'll say different things, and it's going to be fantastic. Until then, have a wonderful day.